Men's basketball versus Texas. Could the Buffs hook the horns? Oh, and here's a little bit of women's tennis action over the weekend as well.
Also, women's basketball taking on Kansas. Kara Richards to the hole. The dancers are fired up. Also, Chip's fired up. We got Sports Mag right now.
Hello and welcome to CU Sports Mag. I'm David Stars alongside Luke Rosenmeyer. Luke, it's business time. Let's get to some action.
Yeah, I think you're right. Can I see some highlights, please? All right, the Texas Longhorns were in time to play some ball, and that guy right there, Corey Higgins, he was ready for him. However, UT would strike first as Damian James hits the jump over Austin DuPont. He had 21 points. Next, Dogus Balbay, straight out of Turkey on the dish, easy lay-in. CU students thinking, oh boy, here we go again. Corey Higgins, though, he says, not so fast, my friend. Let me tell you what, he had a game. Here's our dancers, as Mike Bone would say, atmosphere. Anyway, nice ball movement from CU, and Jackson Wilson gets the lay-in. But the Longhorns are saying, hey, we're still here. Balboy drive in and then dish into James for the jam. Balboy had 7 assists on the day. But then it was back to the Corey Higgins show. He went off. 34 points, 9 rebounds. It was 36-32 at half where we got to see this wonder dog. We need to get him a CU jersey.
I agree. He's got some hops there. Anyway, second half highlights, kicking it off with who else? Corey Higgins with the jumper, nothing but net. And Chip, he's doing his part to get the crowd pumped up, but would it be enough? Back to Higgins with the tray, got it. And here's Coach Bedelic, you know what he's telling his players. Shoot, Corey, shoot! Wait a minute, 8 seconds to go. Jamel Jackson-Wilson, he's at the line, and he knocks the game up at 72. Damian James for Texas, he had not one but 2 free throws to win it. Clank! We're going to overtime. However, the overtime, more like A.J. Abrams time. 3 of his team-high 29 points. Texas outscoring CU 13-4 in the period and winning this one 85-76. Higgins and Abrams leading their respective teams in scoring.
That's right. Now let's see what Coach Bizdelic and Jamel Jackson-Wilson had to say after the game.
Just got to keep fighting. I know teams don't want to play us right now. I don't think any team comes in here or when we travel, I don't think any team thinks they're just going to walk all over us. And I've said that and I'm going to keep saying that because we practice hard every day. Every day we have practice, we practice hard. We prepare for games. Our coaching staff prepares hard.
They need to keep believing. I thought our fans were awesome. And we're just going to continue to work hard to turn this thing around here.
Lincoln continued to be an unkind destination for CU this year as the men's basketball team fell 46-41 at the hands of the hated Huskers. Nebraska's Aide DeGundero led his team with 18 points as the Buffs fell to the Cornhuskers for the second time this year. Corey Higgins led Colorado with 12 points of his own and went a perfect 5 for 5 from the free throw line. The men continue to take their lumps in their second year under Coach Jeff Bizdelic, falling to 1-10 in the conference and 9-16 overall. Things don't get easier for CU as they head back to Boulder to face 10th-ranked Missouri this Saturday. And now to break down our basketball team's woes, we have Alexis Breidenbaugh and Kylie Horner on the double team set.
Hi, and welcome to Double Team. I'm Alexis Breidenbaugh, sitting alongside Kylie Horner, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the men's basketball game against the Texas Longhorns last Saturday. This was a huge loss for the Buffs.
It was definitely a huge loss, but you know, we can't really hold that against them because what we have to remember is they're a very young team, and I don't know, they still have a lot of growing to do, so that's okay. And not only that, they put up a good fight against the Longhorns. I mean, I think they scared them a little bit there, almost holding it up with a tie. What happened, I think, was they had a 9 losing streak previous to the Texas game, so I think Texas almost underestimated their ability a little bit and thought it was going to be an easy win, but that's definitely not what they gave them.
Yeah, and you know, the Buffs have given past teams in the Big 12 a definite run for their money. First Kansas, then Oklahoma, and now Texas, but they always just seem to fall a little bit short.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the last part of the game because that was really intense.
That was so intense.
With only 7.6 seconds left, the Buffs managed to tie it up, and you know, who would have thought, because we were trailing as much as 15 points earlier in the game.
I know, I mean, I even underestimated underestimated their ability a little bit. But if it wasn't for Jamel Jackson and his awesome free throw shots there at the end, we never would have tied the game. And luckily, Damian James from the Longhorns ended up missing 2 of his shots, so that was awesome. 2 great things for the Buffs. And but the only thing was the fact that they can't hold it together those last 5 minutes in overtime just shows, again, a very young team.
Yeah, and we have to remember that Jamel Jackson-Wilson is the only senior on the team. The team mainly consists of freshmen, so we just can't lose faith, and they'll definitely progress as the years come. Also, junior Dwight Thorne can definitely pose a big threat as a senior next year. And as they progress and gain more experience, they'll just keep getting better and better.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, the fans just have to keep showing up and keep showing their support. Wouldn't you just love to be one of those fans who says, I was there from the beginning, I saw them progress and grow into this great team that we know that they all can be?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be really fun to just see them progress more and more. And I think Coach Bizdelic has a lot of confidence in what the team can become, and we'll see how they do tomorrow against Missouri.
Should be exciting. So that's all we have time for now, but when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the women's basketball game last Wednesday.
Thanks, guys. Former CU basketball star Chauncey Billups was selected to his 4th straight All-Star game this past weekend. Billups is averaging a career-best 18.8 points per game this season with the Nuggets. Since joining the team in a trade with the Detroit Pistons, Denver has gone 30-13 and a division-leading 37-17. During the All-Star game, Chauncey had 5 points along with 3 assists in 19 minutes. Billups and the Nuggets head into the second half of the season looking for a 6th straight playoff appearance.
From a former Colorado star to a rising Colorado star, SportsMag caught up with freshman Trey Eckloff to get insight into being a young player in the Big 12 and the outlook for the rest of this season and the next 4 years.
A great opportunity all the way around, from good academic schools with a good program with Coach Bizdelic, good teammates, and I just thought it'd be a good opportunity overall. At this point, I don't see us going anywhere but up. It's kind of been a rough experience this year, but I think it'll pay dividends in the future, and we'll only go up from here. I think it's helped me because it's just given me a great opportunity to just come here and just learn from everybody else who's older than me, because everyone has something to share with me. And I think it's been a disadvantage just because physically, emotionally, you're just not quite at the level of everybody else, but it has its positives and negatives. Jamel, our senior, I'd say he helped me the most, just being the senior and playing the same position. He just kind of gives me tips on and off the court. It's just all just about learning experience and just being out on the floor. You can't simulate that in practice, and just being out there, you just learn things from both watching film and being out there that you know to change to make your game better. I wouldn't even call us a sleeper because we're staying close with all the teams in the league, both at the very top and the very bottom, and we have the potential to beat anybody. And as I said, if we limit our own mistakes, we've shown that we could probably beat anybody. So I think come the Big 12 tournament, if we can figure out all our mistakes and get those all corrected, we could definitely go far in that tournament.
Well, you know what, David? I think Trey is right. I think we're only going to go up in the next 4 years.
Definitely. And when we come back, we'll have some women's highlights for you guys. Stay tuned.
Let's sit down for a second, okay? So hey, Kayla, there's Mary from your class.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Kayla. Come and play.
Oh, sweetie. Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Why?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
Hey everybody, welcome back to SportsMag.
Women's highlights. Time for those. Women's taking on Kansas this weekend. Let's get some of the action. Here we go. 2 of CU's rowdiest fans shaking their pom-poms before tip-off. And here's senior Hannah Skillum, the southpaw, with the spin and the bucket. She had 4 points off the bench for CU. But here comes the Jayhawks striking right back. Here's Daniel McCray with the long jumper. Kansas hanging tough so far until CU's defense took over that ears. Here we go with center Kara Richards getting the steal and starting the fast break for the women. And then Britney Spears, or wait a minute, is that ludicrous? Get out the way! 2 of her 18 points, and CU playing well on both sides of the floor. The Jayhawks, though, hanging in there, keeping the game within 3 going into the second half.
It was a close game, and the second half was even tighter than the first. Here you see Bianca Smith making the hustle play and starting the fast break. Kelly Jo gives it up, gets it back, gets the basket and the foul. She would make the free throw. This is followed by a nice play by Britney Spears, who didn't score for the first 15 minutes of the second half. She says, "Give me the ball." Anyway, like I said, this was a tight game. As you see this drive and dish to Sade Morris from downtown, she had 10 points for the Jayhawks. However, Kelly Jo Mullaney, she says, "You play to win the game." She wants it. Next, Kara Richards down low, putting on a nice move as she gets 2 of her 10. She also had 10 boards for her first double-double of the season. And when the game is on the line, who do you give the ball to? Your best player? That would be Britney Spears, as she takes on everybody and gets 2 of her team-high 18. On the other team, leading scorer, Nicolette Smith, as she hits that jumper, led Kansas with 15 points. But Kelly Jo Mullaney was all over the place as she drives and hits this beautiful baseline jumper, ice in her veins. After the game, Kara Richards, she's famous. She signed him an autograph for some young fans. And Colorado hung on for the win, 69-62. Bianca Smith had 18 for Colorado, and Nicolette Smith led Kansas with 15 points.
Yep, and after the game, Coach McConnell Miller told everybody what she thought about her team's progress this season.
The way we started the game, I thought we came out with a lot of firepower, a lot of energy. I thought in the second half, 2 things. When we pulled off the pressure, allowed them to go on a run, get up on us by 4, put the pressure back on. Probably the biggest mistake of the game was pulling off the pressure. When we were pressuring full court, I thought we were far more effective. They didn't have time to get in their sets. They didn't have time to run what they wanted to run. Spears didn't get a shot off till 4.5 minutes in the second half. And she's our go-to player. I mean, she's undoubtedly the one that needs to have the ball in her hands the most and take the most attempts. Thought when she got hot, we took back control of the game.
The game held more significance for the Buffs than just the win. Wednesday's game was Breast Cancer Awareness Night. Everybody came out fully decked out in pink. Crocs were given out, and both teams wore their headbands, shoelaces, and warm-ups that sported the signature color. There was a special moment before the game when cancer survivors were invited down onto the court to create a tunnel as the starting lineups were announced. Statistics and facts about the disease were announced throughout the night as a positive step toward keeping women healthy.
Earlier in the week, the Colorado women's basketball team lost its 3rd straight game overall and 17th straight on the road against a Big 12 Southern Division opponent. The Buffaloes shot a forgettable 30% from the floor as the 8th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies won going away 79-50 last Saturday afternoon. Super soft Britney Spears had a game-high 25 points and 10 boards on her way to a 2nd straight double-double. Senior center Kara Richards added 7 points and 7 rebounds, while Kelly Jo Mullaney chipped in with 6 points off the bench. Colorado shot just 17 of 56 from the floor overall and went 8 of 28 in the first half alone. Looks like Colorado's women's basketball has been a little inconsistent this year too.
Yep. It's time to throw it back to the double team set. Well, they'll do some more analysis, this time about the women.
Game against the Kansas Jayhawks last Wednesday. They had a really good game, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a great game. They bounced back from a 65-54 loss against the Jayhawks 2 weeks ago, actually. And with this win, they're going to pull ahead of Kansas in the Big 12, tying with Missouri for 9th place. And I wonder if the Buffs are ever going to step it up and climb higher in the rankings.
I mean, I think with the way that they've been playing lately, it's a definite possibility. I mean, specifically talking about Kelly Jo Miller, she was definitely on her game that night. I mean, this was her first time back starting in 15 games, so she just did awesome. She actually had a personal Big 12 best of 13 points, 1 steal, and 1 assist, so she was amazing. Head coach McConnell Miller had to have had great faith in her performance.
Yeah, she definitely did, and there were a lot of other players that showed their talent as well. Britney Spears had a huge accomplishment. She was the 5th player in CU history to score 400 points in each of her first 2 seasons, and actually ended up being only the 4th underclassman to ever have that accomplishment. So we can definitely expect great things from her in the future.
Yeah, she's definitely one to watch out for. I mean, but even though Mullaney and Spears seemed to be on their game, things got a little bit shaky towards the end. I was getting nervous, and I think the Buffs were too, but they definitely pulled it together.
Yeah, you know, we saw a lot of back and forth action, but with only 2 minutes left in the game, the Jayhawks and the Buffs tied it up. But luckily, with the free throws from the Buffs, CU was able to pull through for the win And, you know, I think a lot of people saw this win coming because of just how well everyone was playing during the game.
I think so, definitely. I mean, in my opinion, both teams played so strong. They almost brought it to a close score of 69-62, so it was really good. But overall, I think it was really those bench players that truly stepped up and just brought it in for the win for the Buffs. Everything was just so good. It was teamwork, everything. So that's all we have time for today, but I'll send it back to the desk.
Thanks again, girls. Former Illinois State head coach Denver Johnson is making a brave return to CU's football field. After almost being run over by Ralphie in 1985, Johnson is excited to come to CU with the knowledge of our pregame ritual. Though Johnson was most recently a head coach for ISU, he has spent a great deal of time in the Big 12 working with the offensive line, which has always been a passion of his. Excited to be back, coaching solely the offensive line, Johnson is looking forward to working with a younger team who he believes has great potential.
On Thursday, the Denver Broncos signed the ex-Buffalo Matt McChesney, who they acquired from the Miami Dolphins. McChesney earned honorable mention All Big 12 honors while playing for CU during his senior year. The defensive lineman entered the NFL with the St. Louis Rams, but spent the last 3 years on the Jets and Dolphins practice squad. The 6'4", 307-pound McChesney hopes to see some playing time this season with the Broncos and help lead Denver back to the playoffs.
So now we know Denver Johnson had a close-up and personal experience with our dear mascot Ralphie. But here at Sports Mag, we were wondering if anyone knew when Ralphie first hit the field. So this leads us to our trivia question. When was the very first time a live buffalo was on the field for CU? We'll give you some time to think about it and have the answer later in the show.
That's right. And coming up after the break, we got Man on the Street, and we'll show you how CU's other teams fared last week.
Lewis and Clark, great explorers. Hey, wait. Hi, I'm Thomas Jefferson. Would you check out the West for me? Oh, sure. And they take their keelboat up the Missouri. Oh, Buffalo. Then they built Fort Mandan. They're at 1804. Made some friends along the way. I'm Secretary Will. Through the Columbia Gorge.
There are tons of ways to help with your kids' learning. Find the really good ones on connectforkids.org.
The sweet Pacific Ocean! Yeah!
Where's Michael?
National Guard duty.
Ah, bet he's just sandbagging.
I don't think so.
Sure he is. He left us with all the big fires to put out.
Over 52% of our military is made up of the National Guard and Reserve. They serve in times of war and in times of disaster. And the jobs they perform are hard enough, without you making it harder.
Well, let's hope he's ready for some late nights when he gets back.
Please support your employees in the National Guard and Reserve.
Welcome back, everybody. For this week's Man on the Street, Sports Mag's Jenna Browder went out to check on the status of school spirit around campus. Let's have a look.
We're out on CU's campus today to see how the student school spirit is holding up during basketball season. Let's see what they had to say. So have you been to any of the CU basketball games this year?
No, I can't say that I have.
No, I haven't. Yeah, I went to one of the first ones this year, but I haven't been able to go to a lot of them.
Yes, I was at the Kansas-Colorado game, and the only reason why I was there was because ESPN was paying me for it.
Did you go to any of the CU sporting events?
I have the season's pass for the CU football games, but I've only used it once.
I went to some football games freshman year, but that was 3 years ago, so no.
I went to like all the football games.
So what do you usually wear to the football games? Do you dress crazy or?
A yellow shirt,
Yeah.
just typical. Black or gold.
So you're not the guy in the gold suit,
No,
spandex suit?
No, I wish I could say it was.
So what do you think needs to be done in order to get more students to go to the men's and women's basketball games?
We just need to improve the program, make it more exciting.
I think it just needs to be more of an outreach to the point of, we'll pay, well, not pay, but, giving out pizza is one thing, but making it a part of the culture.
Do you have a favorite cheer that you do at any of the CU athletic events?
Yeah, I do. Woo! Go team!
The Hey song.
Yeah.
Can you sing it for us?
Go Buffs, dun-dun-dun, hey, go Buffs, dun-dun-dun, hey, go Buffs.
Yeah, yo,
Hey, go Buffs.
Bleep 'em up, go see you.
Yeah, go squad, go. That's it. That's all I do.
I honestly don't think I can recall any right now, other than the CU fight song.
Do you want to do the CU fight song?
fight. See you down the field.
See you must win.
Fight, fight for victory.
Come on, together. See you knows no defeat.
So roll up the mighty scarred.
Never give in.
Shoulder
to shoulder,
we will
fight, fight, fight.
It seems to be the common consensus that CU students prefer football over any other sport. However, hopefully the basketball team will continue to work hard and fill more seats. For CU Sports Mag, I'm Jenna Browder.
Thanks, Jenna. Colorado's Jenny Behringer ran straight into the record books at the Husky Classic in Seattle last Saturday. Behringer finished the 5K race in a blistering 15 minutes, 1.7 seconds, which is a school record, an NCAA record, and the second fastest time ever run by an American. CU's Kenya Newman also stood out, earning an automatic bid to the NCAA championships by finishing 4th in the men's 5K with a time of 13 minutes and 41 seconds, which is the third fastest time in school history. The Buffs have a meet this weekend at the Colorado School of Mines Twilight Open, followed by the Big 12 Championship on February 27th. And time to send it back. Oh, sorry about that. This past Saturday, the track and field team competed in the Air Force Invitational. Jeremy Dawson set the University of Colorado indoor 200-meter dash record. He is the first Buff to run the event in less than 21 seconds and had the 4th fastest time recorded by a collegiate sprinter this year. Ryan Miller, who is also a football player, made his debut as a member of the track and field team by leading the Buffs in the shot put with a toss of 46 feet. The longest by a Buff this season. On the women's side, freshman Brianne Beamer took the Buffs as she took second in the 800-meter run. The Buffs have one final meet before the Big 12 Conference Championship on February 27th and 28th.
The University of Colorado's tennis team fell to number 37 ranked Boise State Broncos inside the bubble at the Millennium Harvest Hotel last Saturday afternoon. Buffs picked up their only 2 points with singles victories by senior Francisca Gendrian and freshman Mikola Jensen. However, CU's doubles failed to pick up a single point against the Broncos. Number 47 nationally ranked Buffaloes joined up to 4-4 in the season, while the Broncos improved to a 7-2 record overall. Gendrian's singles victory was her 79th career win, placing her 2 spots out of 6th place on the Buffs' all-time list. The Buffs will be back in action at Denver on February 28th and are set to begin Big 12 play on March 13th against Oklahoma.
In their first tournament of the spring season, the women's golf team placed 9th at the San Diego State Aztec Invitational. The team improved on their second-round score by 22 strokes on Tuesday and finished with a combined score of 936. Stephanie Simic led the Buffs and placed 9th individually after her impressive third-round score of 71. The Buffs are hoping to build off their momentum as they travel to the San Jose State Spartan Invitational in the first week of March.
The University of Colorado ski team is heading to the Rocky Mountain Intercollegiate Ski Association Championships this weekend. However, the focus here isn't defending the RMISA crown, but rather improving their seeding for the next month's NCAA championships. Freshman Begard Kolhamar, junior Matt Gelso, and sophomore Jesper Ostensen are atop the men's Nordic skiers, while senior Maria Grevsgaard and sophomore Alex Turchin are tops on the women's side. The Buffs appear to be in solid position to send 11 to Maine in search of the school's 18th national title in skiing. And stick around after the break, you'll see which CU athlete won a national championship this year.
Yep, and we'll have the answer to that trivia question you have all been dying to find out. Stick around.
Listen to me just a second. We don't want to be at your party any more than you want us here.
What could we have done to avoid this?
Keep the noise down so no one complains.
Hey, guys, keep it down. The neighbors are complaining.
Make sure anyone drinking alcohol is at least 21.
You sure you're old enough?
And finally, make sure that you don't have too many people.
Man, that would have been easy. I wish I had known the rules. Now you know. Avoid trouble. Know the rules.
We want to see our children succeed. But setting easy goals for our kids creates the toughest obstacle they'll ever face. Because succeeding in the real world isn't easy. Help the effort to raise standards in America's public schools. Call 1-800-96-PROMISE.
No, you've all been waiting patiently to find out the answer to this week's trivia question, and now your waiting is over. We asked, when was the first time a live buffalo was on the field for CU? The answer was in 1934, just 3 weeks after students decided on a buffalo for their mascot. A group of students rented a bison calf and cowboy for $25. The baby buff cheered from the sidelines as the cowboy and 4 CU students struggled to keep her under control. The Buffs ended up winning the football game at the University of Denver and kept the tradition ever since.
The University of Colorado already has a national championship this year, but it's not exactly in a conventional sport. Actually, it's not really a sport at all. CU's lovable mascot Chip was named the National Mascot of the Year, and our friends at News Team Boulder caught up with Chip to find out what makes him championship material.
Don't adjust your TV set. There's nothing wrong with it. This man doesn't want his identity revealed. He's on his way to the office to do some work, which is why we can't tell you who he is. But everyone knows him by another name. Chip. Mascot of the Buffs, keeper of the flame, embodiment of the spirit, and now the #1 mascot in the nation who lives by 2 mottos.
If the fur ain't flying, you ain't trying. So you always wanna give it 100% whenever you're doing something. The second one we have is pop the bubble. Every movement we do, we wanna try to pop that bubble. So as opposed to saying, make some noise, it's gotta be real big, make some noise. And that way, all the fans can see it.
Being Chip isn't just fun and games. Not only is it his responsibility to keep the crowd into the games, but he has to stay physically fit and participate in local Boulder events. Of course, physically fit means keeping to a grueling workout regimen. And that workout also includes putting on the costume, which takes a heaping 15 minutes, almost an eternity in mascot years. And then the big moment arrives, when entering the court means making fans very happy.
Just to know that you've made their day better, that's the most rewarding part. Even though you may sweat a little bit, hurt yourself, fall over, whatever, it's all fun and games because they don't know who you are. But at the same time, somebody else, got a smile or a laugh out of it. So that's the most rewarding part.
I like that we come around every time. Then he gives out stuff.
Alana Wilbur, News Team Boulder.
Looks like Chip needs to share some of his secrets for success with the rest of our teams.
Oh yeah. But now it's time to send over to Matt Seawick for the weather and our weekly weather update. Take it away, Matt.
Guys, this weekend is going to be one to look forward to. So let's bring up those national temperatures. Now, the whole nation is starting to see higher temperatures even in the middle of February, which is great. Specifically in Colorado, we have in the mountains around mid-30s, and then in the Front Range, we're going to reach some high 50s, which is great. Now let's look at the mixed surface analysis of the nation. Now we'll see a cold front leaving Colorado with a stationary front going in, which means that the weather will be great all weekend and it will be there to stay. There will be some significant cloud coverage in Colorado, but it will still be very warm. Now looking for the Boulder weather locally, it should be around the high 50s for this Friday and Saturday. On Friday specifically, though, it should be a bit cloudy and winds that might be up to 30 miles an hour. But that should leave by Saturday. Now looking to Sunday and Monday, we'll have high 50 range temperatures, and the good thing is the night will not dip too low. It will only go to the mid 35 and 40 range, which means it will not be a frigid night. Now all this great weather is amazing for our ski resorts. One of my ski recommendations for this time is Winter Park. On Friday, we will have some snow, but it will only add more powder to the base. On Saturday and Sunday, we'll have great weather looking around the 40s, which is perfect ski weather. Now, the base snow there is 76 inches, which is amazing. It's one of the best this year, and also adding 13 inches in the past 72 hours, which is really great. But if you'd like to be a little closer to home, let's look at Eldora. On Saturday and Sunday, it should be around the mid-30s, which is a little bit colder. And then the base is only about 44 inches, with 4 inches in the past 72 hours. So not that much, but I still believe it will be a great day. But that's all the weather we have today, so enjoy your weekend. Maybe go to the slopes, and I'll send it back to the desk.
Thanks again, Matt. Well, look, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to that Missouri game on Saturday. Should be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be a cracker. Hopefully we'll be able to take down the Tigers. Anyway, that's all the time we got today. Thanks for watching. For David Starcer, I'm Luke Rosenmeyer. Have a great weekend.